Hello, and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is Dave, and I will be your keeper of arcane lore for this session of Call of Cthulhu. We are back with A Time to Harvest, and we are now picking up the story again in Chapter 4, the penultimate chapter we'll be playing through. You can get your own copy of this campaign from Chaosium.com, and we're also going to be hosting a giveaway today of a PDF copy, which I will now hand over to Jim to explain.
That's right. So we are going to be giving away a PDF copy of A Time to Harvest, and you can enter that by typing !harvest into our chat. Not to be outdone by Jackson this time, I have also frantically prepared a little harvest
bastard.
card.
Mine's bigger.
It's not just your thing anymore. So if you'd like to
competition.
Okay, right, clearly. If you'd like to enter that, just type in !harvest into the chat, and there will be some reminders throughout the game placed.
Perfect. Thank you, James. Note that if the bot doesn't respond to you, it's just that it's got a cooldown, so as long as it's been typed, you should go through. And you can always re-enter again later and see if the bot wants to tell you where you are. That's just a separate thing. Thank you, as always, to Roll20 and Sirenscape for being great tools that we use to improve our games. And without further ado, let's jump back in. So, in the previous chapter, our three investigators, Seb, Katie, and Chaz, have been recruited by Federated Oil and Chemical, and you were sent over to Latuque, Canada, to investigate a potential mythos threat. Now, you did find that it wasn't mythos; it was just a mad priest. But the mission was still seen as successful. This was a chance for you to prove yourselves. And when you returned back, although Michael Abelard was disappointed, he had hoped to get some more, the chance of possibly getting a live one was very, desirable. But it was still seen as a success, and you proved yourselves. And what followed were 2 weeks of recovery. That was a chance for you to heal yourselves, recenter your balance, and also train some skills, as well as pursue some personal actions, which we've all done off screen, and we'll pick back up as the story unfolds and as they become relevant. So as we begin, it's October 1st in the morning. It's a cold day, and we see a convoy of vehicles driving through Vermont woods. Tall, dark trees on either side, and as you get in towards the deeper forest, you can see mountains rising up in the distance. The three of you are returning to Cobb's Corners, where you traveled on a school bus so long ago, but this time you're far more prepared. One vehicle in the convoy peels off early to meet with a man dressed in military fatigues, almost invisible on the side of the road, who salutes to the rest and will take that convoy deeper into the woods, where a group of 20 mercenary soldiers are hidden not too far from your hideout, within radio range to be called as backup if everything goes wrong. The rest of you continue on in a single automobile and a larger truck, and then eventually crosses a newly built bridge and towards the old Maclearan farmhouse. This is the same abode that you stayed in when you were here with the students, and those rainy nights and the drinking and card playing, and then the fog rolling in. It's seen clear upgrades. There's now some radio antennae that have been built onto the roof recently, and as soon as you begin to unload and look around, you'll notice that the interior of all the buildings have been reinforced with steel beams. Hidden, so it's not immediately apparent that something's going on here, but once you're inside, it's clear that they've been significantly reinforced. There's also a fuel bunker which has been built, and on the back of one of the trucks, they'll begin to pull off large oil canisters and load them down there, far enough away that should they explode, they won't damage other things. Captain Sam Morrison steps out. He's a broad military man with a buzz cut and fatigues. He has a rifle slung over his back, and just behind him comes Jason Trent, or as he claims to be, Robert Toons, the brain within. Jason is a small, slight student, very skinny, with wide glasses, and he's been strapped into a straitjacket as he moves out, and he's also got a tiger mask fitted over his lower jaw, most famously worn by Hannibal Lecter. So his glasses are perched just over the top of it, and he's unable to easily speak as he looks around the area. and is then pushed forward by Captain Morrison. Next to step out is Professor David Drake. He is the psychologist of the expedition and also a just academic. He's a slightly larger man with balding hair, and he looks a little bit out of place, but he seems to be taking to it like a duck to water. He's got a briefcase and a thick cigar, and as he looks around, he immediately heads towards the farmhouse to start unloading equipment. Next is Larry Neckler. He is a large man dressed in overalls with a mechanic's toolbox, and he immediately pops the hood up on the two trucks and begins to check them for parts and see that they're still running well. He's also got a clear broken nose where he's gotten into a few scrapes in his past. And finally, Dr. Sarah Matheson, a very thin, tall woman who seems to run exclusively on coffee. You've never seen her eat or drink anything else. As she steps out, she's got one of those to-go cups vibrating slightly in her hands and a pile of manila folders, which she balances precariously towards the farmhouse. But those aren't the people that we're here to see, because next, stepping out of the car, we will see Sebastian McCarthy. Art, can you please introduce your investigator?
Oh boy. Hi everyone, I'm Art. I am playing Sebastian McCarthy, who is me. Sebastian steps out of the vehicle. He's dressed entirely in black, shirt, tie, jumper. He has a heavy woolen overcoat that goes down to just below his knees, that as he sort of like steps and moves, like shields his eyes ever so slightly from the glare of getting out of the dark interior. You see that the front paneling of the jacket has this kind of very fine metallic embroidery all the way down to the end of the jacket, and it sort of goes around the hemline as well in both the cuffs. He looks as he usually, well, actually, he looks determined, and there's a kind of very steely sort of look in his blue eyes as he steps out, puts on a very nice, warm sort of felt. I think they wore trilbies back in the day, but forgive me if I'm wrong, but puts one of those on, and uses the now sort of quintessential black ebony cane to push himself up and out of the car. The cane's decorative etchings have been finished, and where there was kind of just indentation in the wood, you can now see it almost looks like the pommel has, without changing size or shape, has melted somehow, and there is now silver, like metal, that has almost run down all of these etchings to create this beautiful, fine, intricate detailing. It is stunning and also a little eerie.
Hell yeah, that rules. All right, so Sebastian steps out, cane in hand, and begins to move away. As next we see Jackson playing Chaz.
Costume change
timed it like a dream.
Yeah. People have forgotten to put their costumes on before we started the stream. Probably before, I don't know.
No,
Hey!
never.
Jackson. Wait for it. Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
It had to be a pop collar.
Double pop collar. You got the inner one as well. You can go the old
Yeah, we're gonna pop it.
triple polos,
pop.
mate. Yeah, that's great. That's a look. I like that.
Oh my god.
I'm Jackson. And I'm playing Chaz Dedrick, the hardest motherfucker on this bus. Sorry, thanks. He has gone all out because he has spent the entire time mastering the art of the gun. While you were out partying and chasing girls, he was studying the gun. He is out. Chaz Dedrick is a block of a man who has wrapped himself in every kind of army accessory and paraphernalia he could pick up around the compound. He's got the long coat full of pockets. He's got what's the word? Bandoliers and military pouches strapped every which way, most of which are empty because he couldn't find anything to put in them.
Bar.
Yeah, a little muesli for emergency snacks. He's already forgotten probably what's in most of them, because he just wants to look outfitted to the hilt. What's he got? I think he said. I think I said he spent most of the time training rifle and shotgun. Let me check that.
Yeah, so you can have a gun slung over your shoulder and a couple of pistols holstered underneath the fatigues.
Outstanding. I mean, yeah, as long as he passed the safety training, he will take every gun he can get.
I think you've proven yourself pretty capable and very practiced in the eyes of Sam Morrison. I think you'd be absolutely given a rifle, a pistol hidden underneath the fatigues, and possibly the kosh, which you've been carrying earlier, sort of hidden elsewhere as well, so that you can easy access when necessary. All right.
Fantastic. And a tactical bag.
Awesome. So that's Chaz, Dedrick, and finally let's meet James playing Katie.
Absolutely, yes. I am James. I'm playing Katie Wilkes, the bookworm turned badass. Katie has, I think, cut her hair a bit shorter. Her kind of underconfident mousiness has melted away in the face of overwhelming practicality. She's wearing not full combat fatigues, but sort of sensible clothes with trousers and boots. She's got a satchel slung over her side, which is filled with all kinds of new medical equipment and survivalist gear that she's been well trained with. Under the other arm is the ever-present journal that she's been working with throughout the entire campaign, now probably rebound in a more practical cover because it's gotten to the point where it's unwieldy and is made up of several books. There is a determined fix to her eyes. She has become focused and purposeful. And as we go through this costume change and everyone steps down looking really cool, I would love to undercut her final moment that as she emerges, someone shuts the door and she has to, oh, sorry, let me out, and has to open it back.
You did win the awkward contest with Jason Trent because he proved to be a lizard.
Now, speaking of the other folks on the bus, Dave, I know some members of our group, I'm not looking at anyone, aren't as good as taking notes as some other members. So if you wanted to copy and paste those descriptions of everyone on the bus to the Discord, I'm sure someone in this group would appreciate it.
We all know you're talking about me.
I can absolutely do that. I will also say, Jackson, on our Roll20 page, which I'll now show to the viewers as well, I do have all the images included, and you can see there, if I can find the zoom button,
Images?
there's down the bottom is pretty much your team. So Captain Morrison, Dr. Matheson, Professor Drake, and Larry Neckler.
Perfect.
The gang.
Is our wonderful, that's what I'm looking for, benefactor and his pet lawyer with us?
No, they are not. They remain behind. They would have given you a send-off speech and the final directions, but no, they are not attending. This is the ground team, the 7 of you. Okay. All right. So as you all unload, Captain Morrison turns about. Having taken in, the surroundings, he looks across to the woods and to the farmhouse and everything. And he says, "All right, so let's unload personals first into your rooms and get those packed away, and then we'll all meet in the war room to discuss plans for today and into the following." Larry, Drake, Morrison, that's me, Chaz, and Seb. We're all in the one room. Boys, Dr. Matheson and Katie, you'll take the other. So go ahead and get situated. And then meet me there, and we'll move further.
I assume, for the sake of consistency, the house has been retrofitted somewhat because those rooms served like 2 people last time.
They have. So as you head inside, you begin to unload your gear from the outside of the bus and walk inside. You can immediately see that the interior has not been widened significantly, but a couple of steel beams run along the interior, and you can see sheeting to reinforce, and also the interior of windows have welded panels
Oh my
locked above
God.
them that can be dropped down to secure the interior. You'll also see that on the outside there is a generator shed which has been installed so that you have independent electricity, and lights run all the way throughout. Up to the second floor, the rooms are still small, but they have been fitted with bunks running alongside them. And the idea is that you're going to be working regularly, and then at night you're sleeping in shifts. Part of why Katie and Dr. Matheson have their own room is because they're the women, but also because Dr. Matheson has sequestered a portion of it to conduct her studies in. She'll be here almost always working on things, so she needs a bench to herself. I have also just updated the map of the farmhouse on your page with a newer one, which shows a few more details of the surrounds. So take a look at that when you get a second. Nothing too significant, just notes where the generator shed is and things.
So, speaking of the surrounds, as we're unpacking and everyone's putting down their things, I'd like to take a moment once we've got down our biggest trunks or whatever to quietly try and rally the other two and say, hey, I want to check something. And it's a long shot, but I figure we kind of left in a hurry, right? Did you empty the shed, Chaz? You know,
Empty the shed.
the stash that... Is there still going to be a bottle of some hooch you snuck up?
Oh, well, it'd be a shame to leave that stone unturned.
I'm just more curious to see, if anything. And I'd like to nip out towards the little farmhouse and find the hiding spot where Chaz had hidden all of our illicit goods for that one.
Yeah, sure.
For that one night of regret.
Is it just you going out?
But I think it's kind of a group activity. I guess I'll take the other two out. We can all nip out unless everyone else is occupied doing busy things.
I am all for the hooch.
Okay.
Oh, not to go and get a drink, but just to see it. It's like
Well,
it's
it's
more-
Just to see. It's just looking.
Check.
We're just looking, not touching, just looking.
Seb will Seb does not lift his own luggage for multiple reasons,
Yeah.
mainly the fact that he needs a cane to walk.
Genuinely.
So
yeah.
he is sort of in the process of kind of directing someone, I think, when Katie comes up and goes, "Hey, hooch," she looks down and goes, "That feels like a year ago, and also I think I remember there being fireworks."
I think you're right. Oh my god.
I can't say I'm not curious. All right, let me
Let's do it.
We'll sort of
take a
like-
look.
Okay.
against probably his better judgment, go, "They don't need me right now. I'm gonna go look and see if there's still Gibbons' fireworks."
Okay. So you leave Professor Drake to load some of your things into one of the bunks. Given that neither Chaz or Seb will be present to call dibs, you will find yourselves in the most unfortunate of bunks, sort of jammed up against the wall, and you have to screw your way through the others. But such is the curse of those that do not call dibs. You head back downstairs. Larry
You
is
assume
in.
it's going to be a problem for more than a single night.
Larry is in the war room, which was previously the room that Blaine sequestered, and you can see a large panel of radio switch things has been installed, and he's running them from one to the other, and you see lights blinking and all sorts of nonsense, and he's testing everything, making sure it's all running. As you head outside, you get towards the truck where Morrison is taking down a large wooden crate and dropping it onto the ground. He gets out a jemmy bar, jams it under, and pries back two of the nails, which sprinter away, and you see nestled amongst straw and things are a bandolier of hand grenades, which he takes out, looks at, puts back, and then begins to move out and away. The three of you make your way across towards the barn. Inside, very tall roofs. You can see there is a ladder which leads up to a much higher second story. There are sections which would have once held animals as necessary, but they are all empty. Instead, there are crates of those same orange branded Federated Oil and Chemical boxes, stenciled, and inside you'll find things like ammunition, firearms, food, rope, just practical equipment, as well as a number of things for traps and stuff which can be set around the perimeter to scare off or hopefully completely deter any mythos or mundane presence. As you notice, you'll see that some of them have been opened and have already been placed around the surrounding area. Now, when the students left previously, you guys left and then the others did follow. So they did clear this out. However, Chaz, how carefully do you think that they stashed the liquor? Was it just like hidden inside a crate or something, or was it beneath a loose floorboard?
Yeah, it would have been good. It would have been sneaky.
Yeah.
But who would have cleared it out? Would it be this paramilitary folks who cleared it out?
They probably would have done a sweep of it, but there's nothing. The paramilitary can never go up against plucky students. Do you want to give me a
That's
luck
true.
roll to see if it survived the...
You never mess with university students trying to get drunk.
That's the law.
That's a rookie move.
The truth universally acknowledged.
Well done.
Extreme
Yeah.
success.
I'm
You
guessing that
find it.
means the fireworks
Yeah.
are there too.
100%. Chaz, where was it hidden?
Under a floorboard, inside an empty sack of flour, half covered in dirt.
Great. You find a
That's how you
couple
do
of
it.
bottles of hooch, as well as a small bundle of like cherry bombs, which were procured by Gibbons while you're still here. As
Outstanding.
Chaz is prying this back, and 7K you're watching, you hear like a couple of branches breaking from out along the perimeter. You look over and you can see Sam in the distance just heading in towards the farmhouse. Chaz steps up, bottles in hand, victorious.
I can't believe they're still here. Well, I guess not everything changes. One night we gotta have a game of cards or something, maybe after we've found these things have nests. The hive feels like the word.
Yeah,
Ideally burnt it to the ground and smashed everything inside.
or layers. They got layers, don't they?
There's a
Batteries, clutches.
bang of something that hits
Facilities?
along the side of the barn, like a thump from a closed fist along it,
Is
and you can
everyone-
hear crunching gravel just along the
Is-
side.
Is Larry still inside with us going through stuff, or did he move off?
You didn't see him leave.
Can we just poke our head out and quickly check
Sure. You're checking the house, or are you checking the sound of someone coming?
the noise, if there's a noise outside, unless you
Sure.
want us to make a listen check?
Up to you. Do you just step outside?
I'll make a listen check first, just if it's easily identifiable.
It sounds like not someone who's come from the bus. Is that the
No,
impression you're
it's
getting?
coming. It sounds like it's come from the woods to the north.
Well, shit.
Mm.
That's a fail. I will
You
quickly...
hear the sound, but you're unable to pinpoint exactly where. It sounds as though it's moving around and heading towards the large open doors, and it's moving softly enough that it could be trying to sneak up and around.
Wow.
Okay. If it's coming towards us,
I'm
Everybody get low. Get low.
I'm
position
gonna-
by the door.
I'm gonna stay like very still, standing exactly like where I have. I'm not gonna hide. I'm just gonna stand, but my hand is gonna reach for the inside of my coat, and I will say, for the purpose of this, I was wearing like gloves because it's cold. I will peel off one of my gloves just enough that you can see that there's like something silvery embedded in like the base of the palm.
That's gross. I love it.
Ooh.
And then
Like,
and kind
like
of
grafted in.
yeah, like some weird ass body modification bullshit, and or you broke your wrist and someone put like a plate in there, except instead of internal it's external. Who knows? It's not massive. It's just a little like chunk, kind of sort of. Let's go. If you didn't know any better, you'd almost say it was hexagonal in shape. But yeah, we'll go and like reach into the pocket just very slowly, keeping an eye on the door just
Okay.
to see who and what enters.
Okay,
Dun,
so
dun, dun.
Seb stands prepared. Chaz, you're ducking down. Katie.
I will stack up near the door too, not sort of hovering, but I can maybe sprint over if I'm needed to, maybe covered behind a beam.
Okay, in that case, Chaz and Katie can both give me stealth rolls.
All right, coming up.
Nice, Chaz. You can tick that.
Stealth team, we're in.
Okay. Chaz and Katie both, like Katie stepping on the side of the door so that anything moving in will have to go past her, and Chaz ducking behind a couple of boxes. Seb, you stand and watch. You hear another clank from like rattling chains or something as it moves around, and then a silhouette dark against the still sort of like relatively low sun moves into the interior. And Alex, can I please get you to introduce your investigator?
What? Joe is tall, bit battered, covered in dirt at this point in time, no longer wearing her school jersey, but kitted out in a, what was probably once a fairly nice button down, but is now covered in dirt and maybe a bit ripped in a few places. She's got an armful of these traps, of animal traps, and it was like a couple of bear traps along with some snares, things designed to capture and keep without killing, as that does appear to be the game here, which she has thoughts about. But she kind of hips open the door and kind of lurches in with an armful of traps, muttering to herself, these bloody bastard things.
You will immediately spot Sebastian, but Chaz and Katie are still hidden for the moment.
Upon spotting Joe, I'm immediately going to blurt out, "Joe!" and run out and hustle forward.
And just drop off.
Of course. All right. I will seize Joe in a hug and start just
Get away from her! Get away from her! We don't know what brain is inside that head.
Wrap my arms around Katie and just like pick her up and give her a big hug.
God, it's throttling her. Drop her. Drop her.
You're gonna give Chaz a finger over Katie's shoulder.
At that, I think that will be
Katie
Seb
down.
going. I think we know exactly whose brain is in that body. Miss Johnson, always a pleasure. And I will remove my hand from inside my jacket and put my glove back on.
I like the idea that I went in for a hug, heard Chaz's warning, went, "Oh no, I probably," and then went to move back, but was then picked up.
That's happening.
Yeah.
Is it? What day is it?
It's October 1st.
It's October 1st.
Already? Shit. I knew you guys were coming, but I thought it was still like a week away. Welcome to the Migo hunting headquarters.
Also known as the Maclearan Farmhouse. We were here before.
This
Yeah.
is where you were. Oh,
Yeah.
This is the shithole.
Yeah. It's if it's any consolation, it's less of a shithole than it was the first time around.
For
So-
me,
so-
yes, not for you.
What are you doing here? What happened? Are you with oil and and I'll start stuttering again.
I'm sorry about bailing out on you guys. It was John. I could hear him all the time, and then the night that I bailed, I dreamed of him, and he looked disappointed in me, and you know, we saved him insofar as I guess we could, but these guys, they ain't gonna stop, you know. They're gonna find somebody else to do the same horrifying shit to, and it's not right that I was just gonna go about my life anyway. I decided to come up here and see if I could, you know, I don't know, find some and set fire to them, I guess. And apparently not the only person doing that. I ran into these chuckle fucks, and I mean, that's different approaches, I guess. They think they want to trap one and keep it alive and study it. I think we should just burn the whole thing to the ground, but...
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
they're the ones funding the whole operation, so I think what they say goes.
Right. Anyway, I've been putting traps out, and I actually found evidence of some ego out here. Thanks to you, Seb. Actually,
Yeah.
I saw I got a real good look of your scars in the hospital, Seb, and lightning doesn't strike twice except around these parts, you know. So I mean, they're here probably, maybe, or they were. So I've been setting traps, but I just keep catching foxes. So I think I need to make some modifications. Anyway, it's really great to see you guys.
As I want to say one last thing, as we sort of finish our embrace and I step away, I'm nodding, listening to Joe's story. I got a real good position to do a scalp hairline check to look for any kind of surgery, because I'm happy to see Joe, but I'm not. May I make a spot hidden check?
Do you want to make a medicine roll?
Sure. Okay. That is a failure, I'm afraid.
Joe's hair has grown back a bit. I think what is Joe's hairstyle? It was shortish, wasn't it?
It was pretty much, yeah, just like the really, really short kind of 1920s bob, which when she was kind of injured a little bit, I think she's probably cut it right back now to kind of almost a men's haircut, where it's like the really short with the shaved sides and has got it like slicked back now. Just because it's easier when you're dicking about in the woods to not have to deal with that. So she's probably got it really short and slicked back now. And so you get a very good look at
It's pretty clear that there's no line along it.
Yes.
But no other
on the front, I mean, she's got hair at the back, so you don't know.
Keyhole brain surgery.
Exactly.
All right. From the house, you see the door open, and Captain Morrison steps out, and seeing the four of you, he will hold up a hand and wave you over, and says, "If everyone's unloaded, let's discuss plans for the evening and going forward." And so I'll move inside. He heads
look
in
at
towards
the pile of traps on the ground, kind of nudge it with my toe and be like, and grab a shotgun off the wall that's been hanging there and sling it over my shoulder and go out.
Awesome.
Back inside. Let's do it.
All right.
But first of all, I'll nudge Chaz to stash the fireworks back.
No one needs to know about those just yet.
Drop the liquor as well. Drop it back into the bag and under the thing. Okay, awesome. All right, you have your own little cubby. With the liquor sequestered away, you all head inside. The large open area is largely unused, so that it can be quickly moved through, although there's a couple tables pressed towards the back, which can be used as, like, for research or whatever as required going forward. But inside the war room, you can see that there are maps of the region, photos of some of the people within Cobb's corners pinned up with, little red markers next to them as they begin to develop their plan, as well as a larger map of Vermont, specifically the region around Cobb's Corners, and on it, Broken Hill is circled. Jason Trent is not present. There is a basement, which has been reinforced and used as a safe room, which Jason Trent is being stored in and locked in the intervening period. So he is not here for the planning discussions. Professor Drake is just emerging from that subterranean cell as you come inside, and he locks the door above him, the hatch. He was just checking to make sure that he'd be okay before joining everyone else. So with everyone comfortable inside, there's a pot of coffee off towards one corner. You can all gather around a map in the center of the table as Morrison begins to address you. He says, "So this is going to be our base of operations. We want to keep this as low-key as possible. If we can avoid attention, that will be good, but it's really a matter of time. We have reinforcements stationed here." He thumbs a section of the map, maybe a mile away, but deep inside the woods. From here, we can radio them and they can get here quickly. Additionally, they have an eye line on the road up towards this farmhouse. So if they see a truck coming along it, they'll let us know and we can be prepared to intercept. Now, a bridge has been recently installed along the road towards the farmhouse, which can be raised and lowered. At night or when no one's expected, we'll raise the bridge so that no bystanders or suspicious individuals can just happen upon the place. At least if anyone gets here, they're looking for us, and if they're looking for us, well, and he points towards Joe, they're going to get a pretty nasty surprise. We've begun, with Miss Johnston's expertise, running traps along the perimeter, which are going to stop any humans moving along the ground, as well as Migo moving through the air. There are bear traps, which Joe has been burying underneath. Mulch. There's also pits beginning to be dug for anything large that moves through. There are wires, tripwires strung between trees, and you can see Larry seated at his booth is checking on them, and if they trip, an alarm will sound on this panel, and he can then patch straight through towards reinforcements as needed. And there's also nets up in between some of the trees at the higher points so that any flying creatures will be captured and intercepted.
They don't go for a stroll in the woods.
Yeah, or go with a guide.
I would like to just say, like, Seb ever so gently during this just nudges Katie and goes, No sleepwalking.
I plan to go there very much awake, and soon too. I think it'd be a good place to start a search.
Doesn't say anymore.
So there has been a basement, which has been reinforced and sealed. That is our panic room as necessary. Mr. Trent is being stored in there, locked for the time being, so he can be questioned further. But in the event of any sort of attack, that's where we'll hold up while waiting for reinforcements. We'll hold the house for as long as possible, then retreat downstairs. So tomorrow we'll begin the operation proper. The four of you will be heading into Cobb's Corners to conduct interviews and investigations, while Professor Drake and myself work with Jason Trent to get as much information about the supposed Migo base underneath Broken Hill as possible, and then we'll be verifying that intel so that we can form a proper plan. Larry will stay in contact with reinforcements, as well as working with Dr. Matherson on explosives. Now, what we've spoken about with Trent leads us to believe that the base has a number of entrances and exits, as well as potentially some supernatural means of travel. But if we can blow all of the entrances, we can deal a serious blow to them and possibly eliminate them in one fell swoop. That's the going plan. We can discuss that further tonight, and we graciously accept your insight. You are members of this team, and we want to make this plan as foolproof as possible. But for the time being, we have some mundane duties to attend to. So given it's only the morning, the captain intends to spend the first day getting situated and preparing, and then you'll go into Cobb's Corners tomorrow. That includes things like Matheson's going to be going over all the equipment. Drake is going to get Trent comfortable and begin talking to him. Morrison is going to help with laying traps and checking everything over. And Larry is going to set up the radio and run all the wires through to it. The best thing for the four of you to do would be to continue laying traps. We want this place as, well covered as possible. And it takes quite a bit of time to make sure this is covered, as well as that we know our path through the woods if necessary. If there's anything else you'd like to suggest doing, though, open ears.
Does anyone have any questions?
Hey, you don't have to put your hand up, Katie.
Thank you, Mr. Dedrick.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Yes, just a quick question. How aware of what's going on are the residents of the town in general?
That's for you to find out, truthfully. They are not... This house was bought surreptitiously and through an outside agency. They shouldn't be aware that it's been sold to Federated Oil and Chemical. Additionally, the first thing we did was we dug up the bridge, so they shouldn't have seen any of the operations going on here. We're also developing a cover story for the four of you when you go back in, which should dissuade them from investigating here, at least. We can go into that in more detail tonight.
Okay, cool. Well, as long as they, haven't been sitting and watching, or at least we don't know that they've been sitting and watching for a long time. I have one last question. I'm sorry. This bridge, can you show us how to lower it and raise it in case of emergency? And, it seems like you're okay to prepare for the worst case scenario. I'd like to know how we can get out.
Yeah. Larry steps away and says, I can show you. It'll only take a moment. All right. We'll walk out shortly. Any other questions?
Is there a phone?
There is a phone. The phone line does run through Cobb's Corners previously, and that is the only way to run it. There's an alternative. That was what was damaged last time that you were here. So it is usable, but the radio is the more reliable means of communication. And that said, if you want to call anyone, there's a phone in the main room.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Everyone steps up and begins to set about working. What do the four of you want to be doing for the day?
All right, well, let's have a brief chat, the four of us, quickly. Come together, and I presume this is as maybe we're doing some small task.
Yeah, I mean, you still need to like unload the truck needs to be unloaded and then taken away and hidden. The bunker needs to be filled with all the fuel and everything. Traps need to be laid and a map made of the area so that everyone's familiar with where they are. Then you need to check your own equipment. If you're going to be taking firearms around, you need to make sure that they're clean and things. Like, there's a lot of busy work as just the first day of preparation unfolds. But you have time to pursue some individual tasks if you wish. Go ahead and talk.
So here's I guess what I'm thinking lead wise. This Migo base, it's likely to be up in the hills. We know that when we took when we stole the notes and the information, when back from Blaine when we were here the first time, he had a couple of locations way up in the hills marked. I reckon those are likely to be entrances or places where the Migo were gathered up, either doing operations mining or up there. If we head to those areas, I think we're pretty likely to find entrances. My other thoughts for leads are we could try and check where I ran into that thing the very first night we were here. It's out in the woods and it would be a good place to start. It would kind of tie in where I bet we could lay a bunch of traps around the area at the same time.
Can you mark that on, and Jo will kind of roll out a map that she's been keeping of traps and whether they're currently there or whether they're currently, or that's a trap spot that she's moved it off and kind of. Can you point out where you saw that thing? Because I know about the spots that were marked previously, but that
feels so long
like
ago that I can hardly remember it. But it looked human. It didn't look like a Migo. It was dark, and I don't know. I thought it was wearing a hat. I don't know what it was, but anyway, here.
There's no reason a Migo can't wear a hat.
It's
Yes.
They got heads, don't they?
In a
Yeah,
way.
I suppose you're right.
Katie, you mark an approximate area, but the two of you can take a walk out later and find the exact region. It was in the dark and you stumbled a long way, but you remember clearly a glade that opened up and you should be able to find it again. Currently, though, it is past the perimeter of Joe's traps. Which sort of like just basically encircle the house, because the further out you go, the more you need to lay. So you've got a pretty tight perimeter around it. This is past that, but you can go and specifically check that area.
I haven't gotten out too far into the woods. It was mostly just keep this area as safe as possible. Mostly from the Migo, but also from any of their human agents that they've managed to recoup, or ones we never met.
Well, talking.
I haven't ventured too far out into the woods at all.
Talking of human agents, I'm not entirely clear what the purpose of going into town is, other than to identify such agents and I assume help us narrow down where these Migo might be. I have a few suspicions. I'm sure we all do.
Well, it's the only place to buy coffee.
It's a good point.
Bad.
Although I think you could probably nick some from
If you want to lose, if you want to lose a hand.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear. Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I'll clarify the intent of your operation. So it's twofold, right? The captain will go into it further detail tonight, but you will have already been given the basics. The idea is to deal a devastating single blow to the Migo. Massive. The idea is they're going to wipe this base out after investigating inside for potentially finding any of the brains that have been stolen, as well as just like information if they can find data stored. You've gotten those hexagonal discs before. They're hoping to find more of those or something like that, so they can continue researching. But basically knock that out in one fell swoop, and then in the same long night head into town and eliminate any agents that are operating there, as well as anyone who's got ties to mythos or occult information. That is, just wipe them off the face and then step back. They know it's not going to be final, but that will be a serious blow, and if they can do it in one night, people shouldn't have time to bail.
Well, I'm glad to know the tone of things, because as far as we know, that means that we're definitely going to have to get heavy with a few law enforcement officers, or one.
Yeah, I can think of a few. I can think of at least one we're going to have to get heavy with.
Well,
yeah, aren't you just going to get like immediately arrested if you're seen in town, Chaz?
So
No, my name was clear.
Legally,
they straightened it out
clear.
for me.
That's it. They haven't.
That's
I mean, the deputy hasn't followed the law before. He'll string you up if he wants to string you up.
But the deputy did try and skirt around. There is public opinion as well. And the idea is still that, that's what you're there to find out. How deep do these roots run? If the whole thing is compromised, then that's information.
So I did have a thought on our potential cover story, should we so desire, depending on what Morrison has for us. But if we were trying to find out who the actual murderer of Jimmy Maclearan was, because we were wrongfully accused, and now we have a vested interest in finding out who exactly did it, that gives us a fair amount of reason to be asking about the farmhouse, about Maclearan, about Anne, about the deputy. And yes, it's certainly going to ruffle a few feathers, but I don't think it's going to ruffle any additional feathers that have not already been ruffled. Jimmy wasn't particularly well liked, but Anne appears to have been. And I think we could garner some favor by saying that we'd like to know what happened to her husband, because it obviously was not us, and we have the papers to prove it.
I think that investigating the Maclearan deaths, murders, whatever they were, is a really good idea. I think that probably is going to lead somewhere. I want to quickly apologize to player and viewer alike, because I'm trying to. I've got all these ideas that I want to quickly get out. But
Shoot.
All right, in terms of
Very
planning,
Katie of
Well,
you.
the only other thing
Yeah.
that I would say is, do you want to say, because unless there's anything you want to do today, the intent of the evening is going to discuss plans and things.
there might be something I want to do today. I'm so sorry. Thank
That's
you.
all right. If you want any clarification, though, you can just grab like Morrison or someone. They can answer questions. So, but go ahead. I love a lot of red string on a
Yeah,
wall.
exactly. I'm hating the hell out of this. Okay, so here's my thought.
Seb has deposited himself on a nearby chair, knowing exactly how long this is going to take.
There's no PowerPoint, so I've got a bunch of A3 posters which I'm smoothing over it, and then
you'll see.
I
Hey,
can't
you'll
do
see.
the effect, so I have to manually go. Anyway, all right. So I think that we know that not everyone in town is, at least when we were last there, not everyone in town was part of the conspiracy at large. Let's just call it that. The priest, at the very least, was very against it. And I think that it seems sensible that there were a couple of other people who weren't. We also know, though, that prevailing public opinion is probably in favor of the conspiracy. I remember that little kid who drew a picture that was incredibly creepy and seemed to be kind of reverently looking at some weird Migo tech or whatever. And I think that we're gonna just trees, yeah, spooky trees. But I'm assuming it was influenced by Migo technology. And I think that if we go into town, we're immediately, I mean, like we're going to tip our hand right away, basically. I think we might want to take a stealthier approach. They either know we're here or they don't know we're here. And if we can kind of use that advantage of maybe them not knowing where we are, I think we should take it. I also think that because there might be people in the town who aren't with the Migo, it's very unlikely that their base is in town. It's probably out of the town, and therefore, maybe now that we know what we're looking for, we can go into that library and use local records.
They have a suspicion where the base is. It's under Broken Hill, and if you look on the map which I shared with you, it's like the approximate area is known because Jason Trent came in and out of that. Drake and Morrison are going to confirm that information, but that is a suspicion. It also does line up with local folklore, and is in the direction where you guys were doing your archaeological digs previously, and you encountered Migo presence.
Cool. Okay.
Forgive,
That makes
but
sense.
Jim, were you talking more about the fact that there was the like abandoned house outside of Arkham that the agents were using as a base? Like we might find something similar.
No, I was
Yeah.
just I just didn't know the extent to which we understood where the location of the base was. I thought we had a vague idea, but we were going to like be looking for all the entryways, kind of thing. But anyway, I presume that we can do that more with like navigation, survival checks around the area that we're pretty sure is the key. I'll finish up. Last suggestion. What if we call the police, or Joe calls the police specifically and says, I've been in a car crash, or, oh, I need help, and we get the deputy to respond, and then we jump it.
Well, yeah. I like it.
Hey,
I like it. All right.
I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
I mean,
Now that's scheming.
On the other hand, the deputy knows, everyone in town. He's gonna know if the person called an outsider, right?
Yeah,
Probably
but
more reason to send the deputy and not the sheriff then, given that the deputy seems to quite like outsiders. I don't
like it.
have a problem with tipping our hand. I'm happy with a stealthy approach. I'm also happy to keep the extent of the number of us who have returned back. I am far better at talking than I am at hiding. And I did make a relatively all right impression on a handful of folks the first time round. I can try and leverage some of that. I think having them know we're here, or at least having them know some of us are here, maybe just myself, their actions will tell us more about what they're doing and what they suspect than observing them from afar. How they respond to us being back is almost as valuable information as knowing whether or not they know we're back at all.
I guess you're right. Okay.
Little of column A, little of column B, but certainly I do like the idea of jumping that sheriff.
Well, that's all me. Don't need that. With that in mind, the intent is that you will return in the same way that John Jeffries and Daphne Levine and the others returned on an independent investigation following the previous one. You will say that you are staying in Wilmington, which is 10 miles south, so they should have no reason to check the farmhouse. And it's also a lot of like, and we got to get back. People are looking for us. So that people feel cautious overplaying their hands. I just think the idea is you drive straight into the center of town, and this is operating under the assumption that the conspiracy is a conspiracy. They won't actively, seek you out. There are still people that are friendly, that are just local and that don't know what's going on. So you can leverage things like people you've met previously that you were friendly with, and basically act in the open and use that as cover. Now, if you have an alternative pitch, you're more than welcome to go. You can go in disguises. We can start gluing on fake mustaches if you want, and 100% one of the team would be trained in that, so they can send you in as something stealthy. But knowing this town doesn't get a lot of visitors, and you have met with a lot of the people here before, the idea is that you'll be leveraging those contacts as well. So as soon as one gets blown and they are a member of the conspiracy, then that puts you on the back foot. Whereas if you go in openly saying we are returning, we're continuing following up on, just some of the stories that we heard previously, or, the murder, if that's the angle you want to take, totally up to you guys. But that's the idea.
Well, more to talk about tonight. My feet are getting itchy. I'm going to get to work.
Okay.
All right.
What does everyone want to be accomplishing during the day?
With my 50 mechanical repair, I think I'm well set to help out with
Nice.
traps.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So Chad's going to help with chaps.
I have a tome. Or
Oh, no, not the
several to
time.
raid. Seb will do his usual. He's going to...
You brought the tomes? We said don't bring the tomes. You're going to spend the whole trip with your head in the tomes.
Absolutely will not
These
have seen
kids.
any of this.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Absolutely fuck. There is no way Seb is going to let Chaz anywhere near anything that requires brain power right now.
Whenever we have dinner, we're going around with a little tray and big tomes in the bucket. Come on.
It's a family dinner. No tomes at the table.
No, I think Seb will head up into the communal men's room. Will while everyone is busy doing other stuff, change where his stuff is located so he has a slightly more amenable location. And if anyone says anything,
Such a
he is
dick.
going to do his universal. Do you really want to have this conversation right now? Because I really don't think you do.
This is bullying people. All right, awesome.
And then he will settle himself down with the light of the day and start flipping through his notes. We've established Seb's notebook is far more of a shorthand diary than Katie's grimoire, but it is absolutely his working notes. He doesn't like to leave notes in margins of books for the simple reason that he doesn't want anyone else to be able to work out what's going on from his personal investigations. So everything is kept with him. Sorry about the sirens.
That's fair. For the
happens.
cops that you're going to jump later.
Yeah, invariably. Boom, boom. A little bit later.
So Seb's
So yeah,
going
that's Seb.
Seb's going to isolate himself and dive back into the tomes. Chad's going to head outside and begin to set traps with the others. That is definitely the most. That is the task suggested to people that would be most useful. So Chaz, good boy points. Way to go. Big ups from the captain. Katie and Joe.
Traps.
Traps. Okay.
Traps.
And Katie.
I think Trap Team might be well equipped without me, considering I have virtually no mechanical repair.
You have survival, I think, though, right now.
I do, yeah. All right, if I can
Absolutely.
survival,
If you've got something
sure.
else you'd like to be doing, you're more than welcome to.
Let's survival. And could I focus on preferably having us aware of a way to get through the traps easily because I'm just waiting
Okay.
for the moment where we have to flee the farmhouse and the bridge is down and we have to go through the woods and we're going to get hit by our own traps. And I just want to make sure that we have a route through.
James, you could be accused of being paranoid, mate.
I could also be accused of being right. I heard the intonation in your.
Could also,
I
you know,
just frankly
be
figure out how to
accused
still get
of-
us.
being on this stream and also friends with Dave for a very long time.
I'll be honest, I'm not convinced there weren't any back channel messages between Dave and Alex about whose brain is in Joe's skull right now.
I am pretty convinced that I don't care.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
At least we're all on the same page.
That's it though. Katie did check. And doesn't
Yeah,
see
I
clearly
know.
line.
The fail.
I was
Heard you, Dave.
Chaz can be suspicious in character as well. You can go up to the captain and say, hey, did she get vetted just by the by? What was the circumstances of all that? Like you should run with it because I absolutely
would.
can and will slip in an imposter.
No. It's unimportant.
One
Okay.
other thing Chaz would like to do is type !harvest into the chat in order to enter, go on the chance to win a PDF giveaway of Time to Harvest. If you haven't done that, you better do that by now. Surely everyone's done that. Type !harvest in the chat to win a PDF copy of Time to Harvest.
And we'll do the drawing at the end of the session. Hey, there we go. You got it.
Hey,
Hey, you got two. Well
Hey.
done. Good job, guys. Okay. All right. So Seb heads inside and finds the tallest, most comfortable chair in the area and drags it over towards one of the windows. You've taken control of a comfortable bunk bed on the lower level, so you're not going to have to go up and down. And there you open the tome, begin to thumb through it, looking at these horrible occult images and beginning to draw threads between them to delve into a deeper
Please.
understanding of the universe.
I feel like at this stage, I feel like that, you know, based on our discussion of downtime, I feel like they're less horrible and maybe they're starting to become, I don't know, companionable.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oy.
What was once off-putting is now familiar.
Seb's gone off the deep end. So we'll leave him there.
As soon as you start talking about the books as friends, that's when some of the wizard stuff starts.
Wizard shit.
Yeah.
70
Oh, you just wait.
Outside, Chaz, Katie, Joe, and Captain Morrison will begin to lay traps in the area. First of all, Larry will walk Katie and anyone else who wants to check over towards the bridge and show you a fairly simple system. It is basically a dug gutter through the road that looks as though it might be used for channel irrigation, and a fairly modern, like, steel installed bridge has been put in place. It can be opened and closed from the farmhouse side using a winch. From the other side, you would have to get out of a car, drop down through the channel, not particularly deep, no rolls or anything, unless possibly being chased, who knows, and then scramble up the other side to raise it, which does take a beat or two. It's enough that no one will just go, hey, I haven't visited on the Maclearan property, I wonder if they're still in there, and drive up and towards it. Seeing this would be enough to, like, go back into town and look into things further. It's a deterrent. They know it's not actually going to stop a focused assault. Katie, you can see how to operate it. It's very simple. Just large winch up and down and from the farmhouse side. Once in place, a truck, and it's fairly sturdy, so you'd be able to cross over it.
Joe is gonna kind of walk up, like, hands in pockets, and just lean over the ditch, be like, if you do have to go in there, like if we pulled the bridge up and you do got to go down there, don't go directly under the bridge. There's bear traps.
Okay. Larry's a little surprised by this as well.
My map.
Okay.
That was my question. Is it's clearly going to stop any cars or trucks or large groups of people getting through, but how easy would it be for a single person to get across when the bridge is up?
Well, it depends on their ability to spot bear traps.
Genuinely. And then once they're on the other side, if you stick to the road, you're relatively safe. In fact, you are safe. Once you're inside the property, you have, like, breached effectively. So a single person very carefully picking their way through could possibly breach it. But during daytime, there's people around, and the idea is there's going to be constant watchers, even at night. So someone moving through in the dark, not relying on it, you need a torch to spot things, and you'll be able to see the torch from the farmhouse. So you'd see them picking
My
the way
goodness.
through.
So here's my impression of this chapter so far. We have every advantage possible. We got a paramilitary team building us a fortress in the woods with like all of the explosives and firearms and equipment we need.
Mm-hmm.
So what
They're
is
gonna
it
hit
that
us.
makes this chapter a balanced fight between us and
Yeah.
the baddies?
Well, the thing is,
I
at the
mean,
end of
I
the day,
think-
you're taking the fight to them. This is your base. At the end of the day, you're going into their base. It's
Yeah, I
capture the
guess.
flag. Where the
Also,
flag is the
also,
base.
also, we are fucked. Like, there's no way that
I don't know. It's like the dice. I've
you know,
built,
no
I built
one
Joe to
goes-
not survive
one-
the last chapter. So.
And here we are, survived.
no one in any writing ever goes, I'm going to give the players access to 20 paramilitary troopers and then make that a thing they can A, access when they need it, or B, not turn out to be evil people in disguise, or C, not actually fucking need.
That's
like,
what I mean.
Those paramilitary are either coming to try and kill us, or we'll go to get them because we fall out of contact in the radio, and they'll be hanging from the trees, and we go,
Yeah.
oh.
The scales are
It's gonna
tipped
be
so
awesome.
far in our favor. I'm just waiting for the other weight to drop.
Extremely suspicious. Yeah.
Anyway, meta commentary aside,
Full
let's kick
Migo
some
shit.
Migo ass.
and in the grand tradition of, look, if you give us an inch, we'll take a mile, Dave, and if you're going to tip the scales against us, we'll try and tip them as far as we can in our way first. Bear traps are cool. How about landmines?
None with you currently, unless you wanted to have retroactively requested some.
If I could retroactively have requested some, alternatively, Joe and I might be able to put our heads together and figure out a couple.
There's hand grenades.
As long as you
There's
have
boxes
hazards.
of hand grenades. You could rig them with, like, string, and anyone that crosses that trip mine goes boom.
Well, boom.
Yeah.
Because, you get a
Yeah.
hot second, unless you're really unlucky.
Yeah, 100%. If you wanted to retroactively request, that is a reasonable size ask, because those can't be just like located, but 100% you can try. They, again, Federated and Chemical is a far-reaching organization.
Sure. All right.
I'm not against landmines. I'm also not for them if we are the ones doing the running.
Do you want to make a hard persuasion test, Jim?
I think that's a good way.
Because then
to
I
do
might
it.
not
think
even need to Google landmines 1920.
They were
I just looked it up.
definitely- They were definitely around because they were in.
Oh, they were.
The
They
first
were around in the First World War. Between the World Wars, the Allies did little work on landmines, but the Germans developed a series of anti-tank mines, the Tiller mines. They also developed the shrapnel mine, the first bounding mine. And this is a Wikipedia,
It's a
wormhole
veritable
that I
mine
can-
of information.
Yes, that's right. Oh my
I mean,
goodness. So
fully-
a bounding mine would trigger and then jump up to about waist height and then explode.
Yeah, they're not
Like-
fun. Fun
It's been
fact.
really compact, slinky put
Fun
underneath it.
fact. One of my great uncles lost a leg to a landmine
Oh, shit.
during defusal training.
Oh, fuck
Was
it out.
training people how to
dear.
defuse landmines.
Jesus.
Yeah, my
Oh,
great
was
uncle,
the trainer.
Yes, the trainer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
one of my
Yeah.
one of my great uncles was a
So they're
trainer on
not safe.
aircrafts and crashed his plane into a runway.
I love when the teacher does the right thing.
Yeah, I'm fighting the urge to. Yeah, no, we're good. All right, let's move on. Good news. I have Googled, not Googled. I've looked in the book. Mines are statted, so unfortunately the
Outstanding.
persuasion roll doesn't get through, and it's also a demolitions roll to install, so that'd be a bit more hardcore. But the
Don't know.
captain probably have a bit. Okay, so you begin to move around, installing bear traps and things as intelligently as possible. Nets in the trees and mapping out the whole area.
The
Relevant
nets
rolls
in
I
the
can
trees,
see.
I'd probably need help. Is the thing I would have needed help with.
Someone like clamber up and begin stringing them through.
I'm really good at that.
Okay.
I'm not.
So relevant skills I can see would be mechanical repair is the biggest one and most relevant. Survive. So that's like, actually like testing everything and making sure they're as powerful as possible. Survival for installing and hiding things. Navigation for mapping paths through the region. Electrical repair if you want to help Larry to install the tripwires that are going to send alerts to the farmhouse. What's everyone's strategies?
I've also got track. I've got track. I've put a fair bit into track over the last little while, as opposed to navigation, just because it's
100%.
Specifically looking for where things might have been coming through.
I think track for finding paths through it is a 100%.
Mechanical repair, may I?
Go for it.
No track.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
Ooh, it's a fumble.
That's a proper fumble
love
too.
to see
Welcome
that.
back.
Was that your first
Was that
roll?
your first roll?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Joe.
Well, I'd like to spend, based on that, I'd like to spend 16 points of luck. So the traps get set well, but apparently they're in entirely the wrong places.
And for me, meanwhile, boom, fail.
Oh, no.
Oh my god, are we just gonna get lost in the woods? Like day one?
Okay.
Amazing. Outstanding.
Rather than burying a future penalty, are you spending 16 points of luck, Jackson? Because you are contributing to it. It's just not a great addition. Like you guys are laying traps around. This is over the full day, so
We're just doing it really
adding
badly.
to it. It's being added. You are just not going above and beyond, basically. Do you want to spend the 16, Jackson?
I think I'll get it back next session.
Okay. All right. In that case, you go around and you're placing traps. It's very thorough.
Or I can push it.
You could.
You can push it. Can't push it from below.
You could push it. This is as you're inside one of the inside the barn. You've got a large bear trap laid down in front of you. You've pulled the wires back so they're fully tensed. And then when you jam a stick down into it, it doesn't snap. And you realize something's wrong with it. And you'll need to like leverage it down. The risk is going to be snap.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna need that 16 points of luck. Here's the thing: lucking a roll is not as exciting. It's never as exciting as pushing.
Our two fighters are immediately going to be taken out by bear traps.
All right, Jackson, go ahead.
I'm gonna push it. I got mechanical repair 50. I failed the first one. I got to succeed the second one. That's how probability works. I read a book about it. I think.
Did you though?
Okay.
It was a pretty bad book.
Joe, giving you as a tracker, you are confident that you've mapped out all of the region. You have paths that will take you north, south, east, and west, not including the road, to flee through, and we'll all just have in the back of our heads that it was a fumble that got you that information, so I'm jotting it down. Jackson, as the others are outside, Captain Morrison's laying traps elsewhere. Katie and Joe have just headed north to find the glade, which Katie had seen previously, and make sure there's a couple of nets around that area so nothing can fly or go. And as you get towards it, you jam the stick down once. There's no reaction. Then when you move forward to try it, you push it down, and suddenly the thing snaps closed on its hinges. The large, like welded spikes drive through your forearm and crunch closed around bone. You are going to take a D6 of damage.
Far out.
And I was very strongly considering making it a D8. I think you basically you wrench back quickly.
I appear to have come
disturbing.
back to something bad.
Oh, Jackson.
I pushed a failed roll to set a trap, and you can tell where that went.
Well,
and we got a fumble and a failed push roll.
That's
and a fail.
not a major wound for you, is it?
It's not a major wound for me, no. There's something so disturbing about rolling your own damage from one of your own failed rolls. I don't like it.
You reach forward and click it, and you see it suddenly swing. You wrench your hand back, but it's not enough before it catches on the inside, punches through flesh, and you see that your arm has been pinned in just along the edge. You are still trapped inside the thing as well, on the table.
Okay. That's fine. I'm fine.
Seb, you are in the window reading. The window slightly open, so a pleasant breeze comes through when you hear a scream from the barn. Morrison is outwards in the woods. Larry is repairing the truck, and he looks up and begins to walk over. Dr. Matheson has that, Drake is downstairs with Trent, so he won't hear it in the panic room easily. And Matheson is in a state of focused feng shui, so she is completely not moving.
Can I pin a gender on that scream?
It's Chaz.
Great.
Look up the page, look back there.
I mean, I don't know it's not fatal, so I do think Seb sort of looks up with a bit of a shock, kind of waits a beat to hear if there's any other sound, shouting for help and that kind of thing. And if
Embarrassed.
is there any other sound, because did the other two go with Chaz?
They're out laying traps elsewhere. Larry is heading over, but no one else is there.
I will continue to he sort of puts the book aside and is keeping a careful eye out the window as Larry runs over, just to sort of see whether, Larry runs back out suddenly, screaming and waving his arms around, in which case Seb will absolutely grab his cane and rush out the front door, but it's just going, that was bad noise, I have concerns.
Okay.
What is going on? But he's not quick to get anywhere. So if someone's already going, he's sort of waiting with, for want of a better term, bated breath to make sure his companion is okay. As much as he might be annoyed at Chaz, he doesn't wish him dead.
We're not quite there yet.
No.
Okay.
So I'll give it a beat. I assume Larry does not run screaming back out again, waving his hands and saying help.
No. So with that in mind, then, Chaz, you let out a yell and your hand has been caught in the bear trap. Larry, outside repairing one of the vehicles, comes rushing over with overalls on and just a stain of grease across him. He's got his toolkit. As he gets inside, he sees you punched into the trap. What do you say?
Punch the trap.
Okay.
This one's faulty.
Jesus, are you all right?
No.
Okay, all right. Don't move. You're just gonna twist it more. He moves over and begins to examine it. He goes, "I'm gonna pry it open. This is gonna hurt."
Yeah.
Ready?
Oh. Okay.
All right. He leverages against it and then pries back the bar. I'm gonna roll his mechanical repair.
No, don't.
And he gets it with easy. Yeah, he locks it back. He is a mechanic. That's his role. He locks it back, and you're able to remove your arm through it. As it does, there's drops of blood that go across the table. And a pretty chunky wound. He's gonna say, "All right, you should go see Dr. Matheson. Tell her that you need a
Dr. Matheson."
Okay, all right. He looks over the thing. He says, "This one's faulty, is it?"
Yeah, obviously. I don't think they're meant to bite the old arm off. The person setting it feel a bit lightheaded.
Yeah, all right. You go inside, sit down, and I'll check this one over. He'll check it, and you can head.
Fine, it's completely fine. Use error.
And you can head inside to be healed. All right, elsewhere. So
yeah, now do Joe.
I don't know. I've noted down the track roll was a fumble, so we'll do that for the future.
Yeah, mine was to mark where we were putting the traps.
Oh no.
Yeah. So when you flee screaming,
I found the other half of the scales. It's our dice rolls.
it's us.
It's us.
Roll enough
Where's
dice.
the liability? Meanwhile, back at that camp, they're saying, we're a heavily armed group of people, but you just know those idiots.
Yep.
Chaz, you can restore a D3.
D3.
Matheson will patch you up, and then you'll basically rest up for a good chunk of the remainder. Okay, traps are arranged on the outside, and you all make your way back inside as the sun begins to set. in the distance, and night falls. Dinner will be prepared, and you'll take shifts watching throughout the night. But at one point, as we'll say Dr. Drake is keeping an eye out one of the windows, everyone will gather inside the war room just to go back over plans for the evening, or for the next day.
What a name. If someone came to me when I was running a game and they said they want to make a character called Dr. Drake, I'd just frown at them. But no, this group just pulls it off. Dr. Drake.
So, yeah. So where am I? As you come outside, as you come in, they are gathered around the map, which shows the section of Broken Hill that they believe it to be under. And Matheson is talking with Larry about the traps laid out. Now, you guys had some alternate pitches. I basically told you what the plan was. The idea is going to be that tomorrow, Larry and Matheson will work on building explosives for the demolitions, and so that they can close off the base. Drake and Morrison are going to work with Trent to assess information and make sure that everything's as accurate as possible, and they'll probably take a hike out with a couple of the personnel to examine potential entrances, but carefully, because they believe that there might be people watching the exterior. Meanwhile, the four of you will head into Cobb's corners to identify potential agents and anyone with Mythos ties. Again, the suggested cover story is that you are students returning, and that you're staying in the town of Wilmore to the south, where you have, a teacher and other students are liaising with, and there's reason for you to need to do check-ins each evening and so on and so forth. You'll be given a vehicle, the car, to drive into town with, and you will also find that stashed inside the boot under a false floor is a rifle, a shotgun, as well as a small nest with 2 hand grenades inside it. Obviously only to be used in extreme circumstances. Your personal equipment can be stashed on top of it, and anything else that you want specifically can be procured for you. Yep.
Just checking. What is the name of the place that we're meant to pretend we're from? Because I wrote down something else.
Wilmington.
Something else as
Wilmington.
well.
Did I say something
that was
wrong
right.
this time? Yeah, I said Wilmore. That's my bad.
Oh, good. Just making sure that we know we have the correct fictional place that we're going to be lying about.
Yeah.
Is that in the map? Yes, it is.
It is,
There it
yeah.
goes, down to the south.
Oh, yeah.
On the way to Bennington.
There you go.
You'll also notice I've added another map in the top left, covering over our map of the Miskatonic University, which I'll now show us all to. I will show them now.
Oh, that's...
So this map has been drawn by Professor Drake, working with Jason Trent, and it is an approximate layout of the subterranean base. He has marked all the entrances and exits. They believe they understand where the Broken Hill one is, as well as one with exit marked ? The others will need to be either scouted out on the outside using binoculars to sight them, or found during the operation, during the raid. There's also this one here, marked with a ? What that is an old mining device. Trent doesn't understand exactly how it works, but it's believed to be something that they use to simulate, well, not simulate, a byproduct of it was earthquakes in the region, and it's what the Migo used to dig for some unknown material. Presumably the rare mineral that you found previously, Pascalium. That turned on and possibly sabotage might be enough to bring it down as well. Additionally, throughout the region, they believe that the brains of some missing students and others are being stored, as well as some reserves and repositories of knowledge. So that'll be what they'll be going in to try and find as part of the operation, only pushing as far as they think they can before escaping safely.
Getting some strong volcano vibes from Stillwater.
Good times.
Okay.
That went well.
All right.
Is there anything for the four of you are going to suggest? Amendments to the operation?
I'll float the idea of calling the police and just getting the deputy out there, getting him out there immediately. Or if not getting the deputy out there immediately, worst case scenario, getting the sheriff. So then we can go in and get the deputy somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't hate that plan. I think if we're going to do that, though, we got to do it before we go into town. Because if we go into town first, they're going to be suspicious of any suspicious calls. So I like it. We just got to do it before we show our faces.
Okay. Do you have
also
reason
think-
to believe? We've read your previous. The deputy was the one that framed you, and also, as you
Thank
understand
you.
it, attacked you, Chaz, with supernatural means.
It's true. It's true. But now we got super means
Okay,
of attacking him. I don't know.
we can set that up. What's the story? How do you want to prepare it? Noting that if we take out, if the deputy goes missing immediately, that is going to raise suspicion inside the town.
Well, that's true. Do we have to do it at the same time? Do we have to have one team taking out the deputy while the other team is in town asking questions?
If you only plan to, that'll just shrink our window. The original plan would be to go in not tomorrow night, but the following would be our best case to
Oh, you
To-
want to just
to
space them
launch?
apart? I thought it would be better, you know, if it's the same day. Don't even give them a night to prepare, right? We ask the questions in the town, gather what we can, and we go in the same night. Is that not a better idea?
If we can get enough information, and if we can get the explosives assembled and prepared in time. And he looks over
Yeah,
towards
right,
Matherson
gotcha.
and Larry. Matherson goes like, it's possible. We need to get started. I've begun theorizing the explosive mechanism, but it's going to take some time to put together.
I also think that. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you, Seb.
No, go ahead.
Well, I also think that speed is going to be critical here. I think that if the deputy goes missing first thing, you're right. It's going to be a problem, but it's not going to be immediate. I think that we nab the deputy in the morning, first thing, head right into town, get the questions done. If the sheriff came instead of the deputy, we deal with the deputy, and then we head straight into the lair that evening. I think we fell swoop this, get it done as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Katie.
I agree that the longer we're here, the more likely it is somebody's going to notice us.
Thank you, Joe.
I
Alright.
disagree.
Deb?
I don't agree. For the simple reason that these Migo have been around in the region for, well, potentially centuries. If we're dealing with someone whose brain was from the 18th century. So, yes, speed is helpful, but understanding your opponent goes a long way to understanding, to creating both a good offense and a good defense. I absolutely agree that in this case, an offense and a defense are almost inseparable. But I think running into a facility that has been controlled by the Migo for centuries, which they will have intimate understanding and knowledge of, is a very quick way to die heroes.
Well, yeah, all right, but is one more night gonna help us with that?
Well, I mean, let's follow that line of thought through. That like, what do we want to find out then? What information do we need to make it to give us a bit more of that level playing field? And how are we going to get that from talking to people in town?
First and foremost, we need to know where the entrances are. That comes down to having people
Counting.
search the area. That is going to take time. That's, if we're lucky, a search of the area shows all 3 or 4 missing entrances in one day. But I don't know if you've ever watched the police look for a missing person. That can take weeks or months. Now, obviously, we are going to need to make a call at some point. The information we have needs to be the information we go on. But we know of 1, maybe 2 entrances. We do not know where the others are, which means we would be doing that in the facility itself. So not only are we trying to locate brains in jars, we're also trying to locate information about these Migos so we can fight them more effectively in future. We're also looking for potential ways in and out that we need to destroy. And then we also are keeping an eye on our own backs because we have no idea how many of these creatures are in the area and whether or not they can come in and out of entrances we don't know about and provide reinforcements.
Scout, yeah.
We have
Yeah.
a lot of unknowns. With regards to the people in the town, we don't know how many of them are favorable to the conspiracy. We don't know how many of them are actively involved in the conspiracy. We don't know how many of them know exactly where this facility is and would come to the aid of the Migo. Or we think we're cleaning away and then get jumped in the middle of the following night when we're down and potentially injured. None of this is sensible to do quickly. I'm not saying we spend months, and I'm not saying that we don't hit hard as soon as we have the information we need, but...
Well, how do we find out the second part of that? The people in town, like, what are we gonna? We're gonna
have to talk to them.
Yeah, but I mean, what are our parameters for saying, yeah, that person is a body snatched alien? I
don't necessarily think all of them need to be body snatched. Blaine wasn't. He was an alcoholic who he was aspiring body snatched alien. Well, I don't even think he was that. He just had a vested interest in someone that they'd taken. I think it is worth finding a list of people we think might have a vested interest, the sheriff being one of them, but I also think it's worth finding out if there's anyone actively working with Amigo, which would come down to things like, do they have strange occult knowledge that they probably shouldn't have access to, i.e. the deputy? I don't think the sheriff is an active agent. I do think he has a vested interest, but that doesn't necessarily mean we need to take him out entirely. The deputy, on the other hand, in our one night of darkness, probably should fade off the face of this planet in one way or another. All right, so a day to scout, a day to talk. We're probably going to need a few days. I would say we push for as long as we can before people start getting edgy, and then when they do, that's the point where we realize we've got all the information we can possibly get. And that was going to be my next question, is what is our trigger to go if it happens before? So when people start getting edgy.
Morrison will say, I mean, part of the reason why we've got a small group here is that we know there's unknowns. We're going to have to be flexible with timing, and we're going to have to improvise. The fire team is ready to go at a moment's notice. They'll come in and they'll support us, but at the end of the day, we're the experts in the field and we're going to make the decision. We've been able to scout the region slightly. Joe's helped us with that, as have the others, so we're beginning to get a lay for the land, but Cobb's Corners is an unknown. We didn't want to show any new faces there and alert suspicion, so we don't know what's happening in there yet. We do not know how far the Migos influence moves into there. That's up to the four of you, and really, you're probably going to be the ones that give the go ahead. We can, at the end of the day, we can get into Broken Hill, the base at the moment, and we can rig it to explode. We can deliver a fell blow. We just don't know what's happening in town. And if agents survive, that could mean they can go and alert others. There's a lot of unknowns. They
can excavate the site if, on the off chance we trap rather than kill the Migo, they can get him out again, I think. We want to know that when we bring this place down, it stays down.
This needs to be final, or as final as we can get it. On the agents, we have reason to believe through our discussions with Trent, who we cannot overemphasize was an incredible asset to bring in, that the swapping of brains is an incredibly resource-intensive task. They don't just do this. This is done for specific things. If they're done, it's more likely they just have influence over people or they've recruited them. Actual brain swaps will be hopefully uncommon. But again, if Cobb's Corners is a pivotal point to hold, they may have agents working inside there. There's also that unknown of the thing that Katie believes to have encountered, and Chaz possibly pursued you during the storm that led you out. Something else, which we don't fully understand just yet, that may be operating in the area.
The tree monsters?
No, this is the you saw a figure, the figure that Katie saw as well, the one with the wide brimmed hat that you never saw closely, and then you heard voices moving around and things. And it was humanoid shaped. It doesn't seem to quite fit the bill of anything else that's been described so far.
If I got that right, the tree monsters that the kid drew is not Amigo, or is that the Amigo?
No, that's something that Sebastian's begun to get some insight to. It seems to be tied to the elder god Shabnagrath.
That's right. The thing that other thing. Oh, there's too much going on.
Yeah, that's why Seb's also like, I don't think he's bringing it up in front of the SWAT team quite yet, but he's working on some. Part of the reason he's got his nose down in that fucking book is because what he's trying to get more information on at the moment is specifically what else is in these woods, and are they a help, a hindrance, or neither.
You spent a day digging through it. Do you want to give me a Cthulhu Mythos roll?
I don't have a huge amount of Cthulhu Mythos, but we can.
It's a hard skill to get.
Did Seb tell us about the thing in the hospital? I can't remember.
No, absolutely.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
The hospital, I haven't spoken about. The weird trees and stuff outside, I may have got. We'll say over the course of the 2 weeks, I will have mentioned at least to Katie, and I feel like Katie will have probably let Chaz know if that has come up at all. But definitely to Katie, have said like there's something else. Like your thing in the woods is related, but I don't necessarily think it's the same thing. And may have like pointed to a picture in the tome that he's looking through and gone like, this seems familiar, but also don't read this. Just
I don't want to.
So
Nobody else wants to read this.
Seb's actually spending most of his time, he kind of trusts that all of the Migo stuff is being handled by everyone. He's far more interested in trying to piece together what the fuck is going on here, like who the players are, where the dangers are, which is why also he wants a bit more time to try and keep digging into this tome and sort of talk to the people and work out the area.
You know, if there's people in town who are involved in this, which there almost certainly are, you might be able to pick up a few more tomes, Seb.
I doubt it, but perhaps.
Well,
You didn't bring the tomes, did you? We said no tomes.
What were you
Alright.
saying, Matheson?
One is if if you're supposed to deputy as well as try and get a look inside his house or something, might be worth. And again, until they realize who you are while he's acting, or maybe when you bait him out. Another one is as keeper. You are completely right, Seb. You do not have a ton of Cthulhu mythos yet, which is why when you roll against the tome, you're rolling against the tome's mythos rating. So that is you digging through it and finding out about it and piecing through it, which is significantly high. Now you haven't completed a full study of it, and that won't get under it. That's obviously too high, but that is part of like why tomes are useful. Is you can flick through them and try and find relevant information.
Yeah, I believe I'm still. Oh, I don't know whether we're fast tracking it or doing anything, but I think I'm still quite a ways away from having the ability to do that right now.
It's a big one. I mean, you'd be gotten a feel for it. I was factoring like a small bonus, but
yeah.
All right.
Essentially, I will continue for the time that we have. Assume that Seb every day attempts to piece things together. That's his thing.
Rock it on.
That's what he's doing.
So unless there's anything,
Can't wait for that sanity bomb to go off. It's gonna be so good.
I really want to get to the end of this tome because currently my sanity bomb at max is 32. If I finish this tome maxed out, it's 50.
I can't wait. I
out.
can't
you're going
Fun
to
wait.
fact.
explode.
Seb will still live. He
No.
just
The
made
mind
me
can only be
forget.
broken so far.
But when you hit 0, that's like
You're gone.
Yeah.
50
keeping
doesn't
gets
take
you.
him to 0,
Yeah.
does it?
No.
Seb's got pretty
Yeah,
high
50
percent.
doesn't take Seb to 0.
That's what I mean.
Seb's way more even
Seb's
killed than the
not
rest
lost
of us.
much,
Get
'cause he's
out
got
of
such a high
town.
Seb
stamina
has
power.
lost no sanity.
All right.
Okay.
Like,
Seb
has
started
lost
with a
some and
lot.
then gained some. Seb is on 80, his starting sanity.
Good lord.
All right.
Seb is
Oh.
horrifyingly sane right now. It's
Wow.
genuinely terrifying. He
You really are
shouldn't
the-
be.
Seb really is the wizard of this campaign.
Yes,
It's gonna be
yes. We've just got a wizard. That's great. That's good. That's great.
zippity doo. So, unless there's any significant changes to the plan, tomorrow the 4 of you will go into Cobb's corners.
Do we want to go in as stupid students that don't know what they're talking about, or do we want to go in as people who were wrongfully accused and
I like
wanna-
wrongfully accused. I
I feel like we have more
reason.
point of being slightly more abrasive and slightly more pushy with like certain aspects. If we're like, we are trying to find out what actually happened because someone died and we got put in
Yeah.
the shit.
That's
Just
good.
noting that
However-
inside the town, the story could still very much be that it was, you and you got off because you had a large law team come in and free you.
I mean, I
Chaz
don't
wouldn't
feel
do.
like if we go in as naive students and they believe us to be guilty, they're going to be no more or less pleasant to us than if we're going in saying we were wrongfully accused and we want to find out what actually happened. There's a chance that argument might sway people to actually like us again,
Yeah.
depending
People
on
are
what the feel is. I mean, the one thing we could do is just walk into town and see who goes why are you here and
Yeah.
what reason, and then go from there. Like that's the other thing.
Truth told,
And-
unless you're going to put disguises on, most of it can probably be improvised based on the people that you meet and the story that you want to go with. You can
And
adjust it as per.
speaking of going in as a group, I haven't been there yet, so
It's very
I'm not
true.
coming in with you guys. You're gonna meet me there, and that'll be the first time we've ever met.
Well, I mean, do we like the idea of the simultaneous deputy napping?
I think
I raise too much suspicion. As I want to, for your sake, Chaz. Like, yeah, I want to, and we will. But I think doing it too quickly will blow us.
yeah, Morrison
But I
makes a
think-
good point. That
Yeah, well, all right.
Morrison makes a good point that if we're gonna do it, we need to do it at the same, like it needs to be close to the time that we're doing whatever we're doing, because otherwise
Yeah.
it is going to be suspicious. I'm all for deputy napping. If we can get the deputy out of the way prior to us
Yeah.
attempting
Yeah.
to infiltrate the facility,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But
I
I'm
don't-
saying prior to going into town, to showing our faces in
Because
town.
Then we have a day or less until people notice he's going missing,
Well,
and
yeah.
then start
Yeah, I
to
guess.
ask
They'll start
questions.
looking. They'll start searching the woods, and we do
Yeah, that's
not want
Possibly,
that.
maybe tomorrow night might be the best time to do it. Get a chance to get a feel
Alright.
for the lands, and then
We
operate
just
from
lose
there.
that element of surprise, but all right.
Yeah.
I'd also like to see who hangs around the deputy. Like who is his mates? Who is he friends with? Who does he drink with?
Oh, I
afterward?
can
like
answer
I want to.
that.
I want to know.
I can answer that he's friendly with everyone.
Yeah, but like
He was real
friendly
friendly with
everybody.
Blaine.
Who's he?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if friendly was the right word, but
They were in cahoots, let's say.
that stands to what we know about him. But I don't think they were friendly so much as working together, albeit forced to.
Well, even if we follow him and see who he meets with.
The one
Keeping
last
tabs on him, yes, absolutely.
one last point I'll raise is that if people do start accusing us and saying that we only got off because of the legal team, we can always lean into it. Depending how intimidating Chaz is feeling, we could. What's that Batman quote? Yeah. So you think that we can go around murdering people who annoy us without any consequences, and you want to
Wow.
piss us off about it? All right, cool. Step
Hell yeah.
outside.
That's right. Improvise. We're going. So the
So
only
I-
adjustment's going to be that Joe's going to go in independently first, and Joe, you'll work with them to you'll come in as like a traveler, just like you've just come
Yeah.
through for you can come with a
I
cover
like
story.
hiking.
Yep,
Heard there's some good hiking up around here.
100%.
I mean, the
Um,
alternative, of course, is you are someone from the Miskatonic University who is investigating the area for some reason. We are from the Miskatonic University investigating for some reason. It would make
Yeah.
sense why we would meet each other, be friendly to each other, maybe know each other in passing, but not know each other extremely well, because it is going to be a bit odd if we don't know each other at all and then suddenly start hanging out together a whole bunch.
Or you
I
could
don't
be
know how many college-age kids are in this town.
you could be the new senior student going along with the expedition. You immediately go up to the deputy, and go, "I am here to finish Blaine's work. let the ritual begin."
Ooh.
Oh.
Amazing.
Anyway,
I like it.
I don't think I have the social stats for that.
all right. Unless there's any further planning to be
Katie
done,
might.
we'll go into the nighttime watch, so that everyone can get some rest and be ready to go in the morning. So, sound good?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Sam, Morrison, and Drake will take the first watch, and you can all get a chance to sleep. Larry and Matheson are not going to take watches. Larry is constantly on alert to monitor the radio as needed, and Matheson basically just works whatever hours she feels like as she goes around conducting tests and things. And you'll occasionally see her wandering past with a massive thing of coffee, mumbling about trigonometry or whatever. So they won't take watches, and the four of you will need to divide into two teams to take the remaining two watch sets. So who wants
I've
to be
got
woken up
good-
for the midnight run?
I've got good listen and terrible spot hidden, so
Oh yeah, maybe put a listener and a spotter together.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
just so
Yes.
you know, no spot hidden. Joe's very short-sighted.
similar.
Very good listening.
I got pretty good spot hidden. I got okay. Listen.
I have
I think I'm the same. I got average spot hidden, and I got average listen.
Okay. So who's been woken up for shift 2?
It sounds like Joe and I are a good mix because Joe's
Yeah.
a good listener and I'm a good spotter.
Okay.
And then So Joe and I,
even
the
down,
two of
yeah.
you.
Alrighty.
Yep.
You're also both in the same room, so that makes sense.
That does make sense.
The two of you sleep for a while. Fitful dreams, but a lot of work during the day. So you collapse and fall into deep slumber. It's at an unknown period in the night when you both feel yourselves being softly shaken awake by Captain
off.
Morrison. He crouches down and he says, "It's time to take your shift. You need to keep an eye out."
Fuck.
We didn't see anything. No alerts. We made contact with the radio team. Everything still seems fine. Just keep an eye out for torches and monitor the watchboard. If anything comes up you don't recognize, wake Larry. If anything serious happens, wake everyone. Okay, there's coffee downstairs. Up you get. And he pats you on the shoulder and heads off. The two of you make your way downstairs into the war room and sit down. It's been like blackout around the outside. There's like curtains on the interior, so light won't get out unless you turn them on, and you both sit down, occasionally checking other windows to monitor the entire outside. You'll easily pick up torches, especially once they move through the tree lines, and you should also hear any screams. With the windows open, it's cold in here, but you need it to hear easily, and you're sort of bundled up in jackets as you wait. Time passes. Do you wish to do or say anything?
After probably like a massive thing of coffee, I'm probably ready to talk.
Yeah, I would probably just make conversation, catch up.
Yeah.
I asked you what you've been up
just
to.
chat.
How's
Like
it been going?
nothing spooky, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, just normal chats. And I
Good
think,
conversation.
yeah, no, I actually quite enjoy getting out into the wilderness and hiking, and it's been actually quite nice. You know, I don't think I'm gonna go back to Miskatonic. You know.
That's well. I thought I was out of Miskatonic, but then we got everything sort of set back up for us by oil and chemical.
Yeah, you can't quit school.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd
big
like
things coming.
Exactly. I didn't think I'd like survivaling, but then I took a bunch of points in it. Maybe we do that thing where you start talking, you plan a trip, and I'm like, I'm going to come visit you in Australia sometime. And we do the whole bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does Katie tell Joe about the trip to Canada? Or
Yeah, I think I do. I talk.
Yeah, that's probably where I get caught up in what happens there.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
Trip to Canada and.
Weird guy who was into phrenology and he was cutting up homeless people.
Oh no.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Oh no. Oh, that sucks for all of you.
I know, and you know, I think it's an old, outdated science, even in the 20s.
Yeah, is that better or worse than this alien shit?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it? I don't know. It's kind of worse, right?
I guess
I think it's worse.
Yeah, but it's rather than just, I don't know, aliens. Aliens is very impersonal. Between humans, it feels like you should have that kind of empathy. But anyway,
I'd rather those terrible things be happening because people have had their brains switched out with fucking unknowable terrors than just people being shit to other people. It sucks for you.
I wrote it all down. I'll show you all my notes.
As you begin to get out the notebook and show them through, you hear a crackle from the radio section, and you hear
shit.
Reserve to Farmhouse. Come in, Farmhouse. Over.
Hi. Over.
We've seen a truck coming your way. Shouldn't make it past the bridge. Just keep an eye out. Over.
We'll keep 4 of them out. Over.
And then it goes down.
Is there a pair of binoculars in the? I think that feels
Like
kind
a
of like
strap nearby. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I crack the blinds just a little and start looking through?
Can you make a spot hidden roll, please, James?
Sure.
Don't you have to wake up Larry?
It was only if something happened that you didn't recognize.
Binoculars give me spot hidden, or binoculars allow me to do it in the dark?
Just spot hidden. Yeah, straight roll.
Bump, bump.
Sorry, I don't have no.
Push condition.
What would you pitch?
Head outside into the open darkness.
Okay. We lay traps with
You could-
humble tracking.
I tell you what, you could walk to the bridge.
Yeah.
Oh.
I kind of want to take a look over to the bridge.
Shit. Should we wake the others up then? Just maybe wake 7. 7 chairs.
Yeah,
up.
maybe,
We're going to
but-
leave the house, and they can stay here.
Maybe just those two. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good call.
Okay.
I'm going to go wake 7 chairs up.
I slip on my boots and get all ready.
Do you have like a rifle?
I don't have a gun on me. I have a kosh thing. I grab a handgun just because, but
You go in to wake Chaz and Seb, Joe, pushing through. Seb's on the lower bunk just near you, but Chaz is all the way on the other side by the window. You have to go past Drake and Captain Morrison to get to him.
I'm going to start throwing my socks at him just one at a time. Like, ball them up. See if I can
Chaz,
maybe wake him up without.
you wake up, there's something smacks across the side of your head.
Seb makes an incredibly similar noise to Joe upon being woken up, and then like rolls over and looks like he's gonna go back to sleep.
just like grab his face and just like shake his head for him. Like, ah.
What's going on?
What?
Is time already? Is time already? All right. Let's get to work.
And I'm gonna give him the lowdown when we're outside the room. Just there's a truck coming up to the bridge. Katie wants a closer look at it, which means we're going
What?
up the bridge. Can you guys stay here and just watch?
That sounds like unusual.
That's
And-
dangerous. No, let's not let you go
good
on your
point.
own.
Unusual. I mean,
No,
it
ain't-
was
ain't we
radioed
meant-
into us.
Well, ain't we meant to wake Larry if something comes through the radio?
Well, no, we're meant to wake Larry if something weird comes to the radio. We're meant to wake everyone.
that's something weird.
Weird,
Is a
weird.
truck coming?
No, I don't think it's. No, wait. It's probably not going to get past the bridge, right?
Well, yeah, but
You were
okay,
kind of
but
giving us
I'd
like a heads up, keep an eye out. Nothing serious, just
Yeah, this is just to
Keep
keep an eye
tabs.
out, and we're gonna go
I
keep
don't
an eye
like
out
it.
near the bridge, and you're gonna
I
keep
don't
an eye
like
out
it.
here, and we've got a radio. So
if we're keeping an eye out, it's only a problem if it gets close, if it gets over the bridge. If it gets over the bridge, we're gonna hear it. That thing is loud.
Well, I think we want to know before it gets.
nah,
to
the bridge is up. It's whether or
Get
not
some-
people get through, and they don't have to be loud.
and at like lowest case scenario, we see whose truck it is. There's not many
Yeah.
trucks around here. We know that there was one for the general store. That could be information in itself. So who's coming into town in the middle of the night?
Yeah. So we're just gonna go look.
Four of you are
I'm ready.
gathered, shivering in the war room. No one
Going.
else has been working so far. And at this point,
jacket
you'll
on.
need to, if you intend to go and have a look, Katie, you need to go fucking quick
We
smart.
gotta go
or
now.
else-
I go.
Yeah, and I'm going with Katie, pulling on my jacket and getting the rifle, they're getting the shotgun over my shoulder. Just stay here. We'll radio.
I like it. We don't have portable radios, do
No,
we? Is
no,
it-
you'll
it's
be.
one of those-
You're-
You're
Oh,
going
yeah.
within eyesight. You should be seeing
Oh,
the
okay,
whole
yeah.
way.
Quick
Yeah,
question.
we're in eyesight.
Yeah.
When I sleep,
Yeah.
I regain 1 hit point.
Correct. As long as you don't
What
have
else
to
do I
win.
regain?
That's it.
Magic points technically, but
Magic points is per day or per hour. You
day?
can break it down into. It's basically one per hour.
1 per hour.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, in that case, before it's
Pretty sure that's right.
around as 6 seconds ish in the
Yep.
in this world.
Mhm.
Great. I will look at both Joe and Katie. Let me just
Oh,
double
you're
check. Super
Gonna
quickly.
cast. You're not gonna cast a spell on them. You wouldn't dare. Will you? Oh dear. I don't like that.
Steph absolutely would dare, you know that.
I have got like a cup of coffee that I have swigged. I've got my cane, and I look at the two of you and say, "Do not move." And then I get the cane and just very gently smack it on the ground twice, and you watch as like little, say this one is sort of like purplish blue kind of cracks come off ever so slightly, and you watch as like one of those what is it, Tesla balls, the ones that you like move your
yeah.
fingers around it. Seb kind of like moves his fingers around the top, pulls 4 strings, and then flicks 2 of them at each of you, and you both feel a slight jolt as
no.
you are given
No.
a
What?
little bit of Seb's will as defense. So I will spend 4 magic points, 2 on Alex and 2 on Katie.
Okay.
Sure.
Sorry, yes, 2 on Joe and 2 on Katie, which I will regain once the night is over, if I regain 1 per hour, give or take, but I will do that. So they each get 2d6 armor.
Okay.
Whoa.
And you will need to
Whoa.
lose
Holy
2d4
crap.
sanity.
1d4.
1 for each. You're casting it twice.
It's one cast. I can split it for one
Oh,
cast.
can you? To different people?
Yeah, so
It's a single target. So
Oh,
you're
it's a
casting it once on
single target.
Katie and then once on Joe.
Let's do it, Katie. I'm gonna hang back.
it cannot be recast until the protection has been used up. So I can apparently, according to this, only cast it once.
I would say you can do it to different people. You just can't
recast it on them. Okay, in that case, I will cast.
Good on Granny.
I'll do one on Katie, and then if Joe's like, "Do not do that to
Yeah,
me,"
yeah. Joe's probably just like, okay, first of all, what the fuck? Second of all, no. Third of all, we gotta go.
Okay. I feel funny, but we gotta go. We gotta go.
Take a d4.
To be continued.
yeah, default. I'm happy to know that in future I will do that twice, but this is new for all of us.
Yeah, 100%. Katie,
Yeah,
with
Joe's
that,
like, no,
you
no,
slip
no,
out
no.
the window and onto the ground, the jacket bundled around you, and Joe not far behind. You begin to move across the ground, crunching along like partially chilled grass and heading towards the bridge, which is just around a corner so that it's outside of clear line of sight, but from here you'll be able to see. You nestle down inside some of the bushes and raise the binoculars again to scan down the road. Can you please go ahead and push that spot hidden roll?
Yeah, bloody hell.
Okay.
Alls.
In the distance,
Can
you
I
just
listen?
make out. Yes, you can. You do not hear anything immediately, but go ahead. And so as that's happening, you can pause and try and see if you can hear anything. Okay. In the corner, Katie, nestled in like side of the bush, you raise your binoculars and look down the road. You just make out in the distance somewhere a pair of like lights scanning across a couple of trees as the car comes, but it does not come further round the corner, and you can't get any detail around it. Joe, you hear the engine start. It had been idling, and then you'll hear like a little bit of like a crunch of gravel from somewhere, and Katie, you just make out the beam swinging as it returns and goes back the other way. The car does not come up towards the bridge.
So it didn't even get to the bridge. Wow.
Shit. There's not like a I know that it's going to go along the road, so if we cut down horizontally through the trees, we can get like another chance to look at it from like a different angle.
You can make a navigation
outpace
roll,
it.
but it's pretty difficult. I mean, you'd be bursting through trees for it, and it's a vehicle. Like you can't really outpace it.
Yeah, if we had like a ledge, do you want me to make a navigation roll anyway?
Let me just look at the map. What you do is you could radio back to the soldiers who have eyes on the road and ask them to see if they can spot it coming back.
Yes, we'll have that.
Because you'd have to like break like miles of trees. Like this would be a whole thing.
Okay, yeah, sure. Let's do that then. Let's radio back.
Okay. As you head back, Seb and Chaz, have you any words for Seb or?
Yeah. What the fuck was that bullshit?
Truck coming up.
Hang on a sec.
around.
Katie, this is just behind.
What?
That
Sorry.
magic, the fireworks out of your stick there. Anything you want to tell us about?
No. Particularly. If you don't mind, I'd actually like to settle a little. That's always a little unnerving to do.
Yeah, you're telling me. It's unnerving to watch. I mean, I thought we were going up against that, magical bull dust. And now here I turn around and you're sprinkling a little bit of your fairy dust on us. I don't think they had informed consent or whatever.
I'm sorry. While you were learning how to be even more reckless with handguns and punching things, I was trying to find ways to keep us safe from things that don't seem to react to handguns and punching things. So you'll forgive me if I don't really want to talk about what I've been doing right now. And there's like the staff will start, like the silver and the staff starts to glow like a slight white.
Oh
Like
shit!
it's just like pulse a little. And like Seb will drum, and he doesn't have his gloves on, he'll drum his fingers over the top of the staff, and there's like little tiny little sparks as he does so. And he just says, "This is something that took a lot out of me. And unlike some of us, I actually care about the well-being of people who I love. So leave it, Daybreak." And then Seb will kind of slump a little and like deflate, and the light will dim and the sparks will stop, and he just looks tired. He just looks worn out and tired, and will go back to drinking his coffee with like a blanket around his shoulders.
I'm just saying, you don't get to decide if other people are gonna take that protection. You know, I thought your mother was a doctor. I might have heard that once or twice. First, do no harm, all that stuff. Just cool it, all right? Or talk to us before you.
Well, if first do no harm is your concern, then that specifically is what that's for. It means that this hurts before she does.
At this point, Katie and Joe are coming back towards the house. No torches used, navigating by the moon. Go for it.
Also, at some point, someone should
Beeline
roll
the radio.
2d6, because that's how much of the will is protecting
Oh,
Katie
yeah,
for
true.
the next 24 hours.
Ooh,
That's
wow.
not bad.
Okay.
That's not
Roll that.
bad.
Would you like me to roll it, or would you like to roll it up?
I'm happy either way, whatever.
Well, why don't you roll it? It's your spell. I think
There
that'd
it
be
goes.
cool.
In the
Run,
meantime,
run, magic.
Katie, the two of you return.
Head to the radio, and we radio through and do exactly that.
What are
Yeah.
you saying?
Hello, base camp over to fire team, I guess. Over.
We hear you. Over.
We think that truck it was lingering around watching us. If you can get any details on it, license plate, color, make, anything like that, don't put yourself at risk though. It looks like it could be something serious. Over.
We see it coming through now. We'll check it out. Over. You hear silence for a while.
In the silence, I'm going to point at Seb and just go, "What the fuck?"
Seb's eyes are closed, and he is like nursing coffee, so you will probably have to go over and like actually push him to get him to pay attention to you right now.
I'm just going to be like, "It was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks."
What?
Just leave it. Forget about it. He doesn't want to talk about it. You can't make him talk about it. But we're going to talk about it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I learned some things.
Oh shit.
Katie, as you're seeing as the other two are talking to Seb, your skin feels weird, and as you like just can't help but push at it, it's as if the whole thing is like calloused and leathered over, and you like run a fingernail across it, it like grooves and like sloughs through it a little bit. The whole thing is just generally quite unappealing. That's it. You can't feel the nail, and it does feel fairly solid. After a beat, can I get the person with the lowest luck to make a luck roll, please?
That'll be me.
Shit.
100% that's me.
I think it is 25.
25. I have extraordinarily low luck. Unless I forgot a luck bump that we did at the start of the chapter. I'm at 8 luck because I burnt everything last.
Oh yeah,
last-
we will do it. Did you roll your d10 just to increase this one? Did you
Yeah,
fail
that brought me up to 8. I'm
Oh,
pretty
wow,
sure
you
I was
really
at
burnt
flat. I was flat at 1
Yeah,
luck.
you
In
were
that
at
case,
one.
I think it's you, Katie.
Enjoy.
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm finally not the lowest luck.
We'll have a look at that. I think we have done more in between each ones in the past, but it won't get you that high. Okay. The radio comes back on. You hear reserved to Farmhouse. Over.
Yep. We're receiving you. Over.
Arthur, vehicles retreating. Small. No other details. Over.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Over.
There's no further response.
Small. All right. So we're looking for a small car, sedan, something like that.
Small.
Gives us some information. So a truck.
I think we're jumping at shadows currently. It's good to note, but I don't think we need to be that obsessive about finding out who or what was driving past a road.
Come on, it's like they said, no one's going to be coming out here unless they come into the farmhouse, right?
This is
the
basically,
impression
at the
I
end of the
got.
day, it's a one-way road. Yeah, no one should really have much purpose. Maybe a hunting party during the day, but at
They
night,
didn't even get to the bridge, did they?
no.
But they would have been able to see it in their headlights, presumably. Given
No,
the
they
distance?
didn't. There'd be like a last branch. They would have come around. And they didn't take it.
Okay.
It seems like they stopped. Quite a bit
They
short.
never didn't see the bridge, as far as we could guess.
As far as you're aware, that's it. Katie did fail the spot here, and
could
there
I
was
make a-
time while you were talking. Maybe,
For somebody to get out, maybe.
but you
Yeah,
don't
someone
believe
could
they
have
did.
gotten out.
Could I make a retroactive stealth check to see if if I think I was spotted? Not
You don't
whether I
believe you
was,
were
but whether I
spotted.
knew. I don't believe I was spotted. Okay, that's all fine then. Great.
And if either of us were going to be spotted, it would have been me. I'm not stealthy.
It was dark and you had no torches or anything. You were like,
Yeah.
it would take something to be able to see through night or something.
Like some kind of
and to be there.
supernatural senses to see that there.
So and so.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, look, I think, yeah. Let's get back to it, and
It's about
be ready
time to
head into
swap
town in
shift
the morning.
anyway.
Oh, okay, perfect. Over to pair of you then.
Yeah, I will before the Joe and Katie head off to bed, I will walk over to Katie and just say,
Can't wait for this shit to be over. I'm pretty good.
yeah, sorry, I should have asked before I did that. It will dissipate.
No, it's okay. I know you were trying to help, and I think for what it's worth, it looks like it will. Just more to the point, it's not like hurting you, is it?
No.
No, okay, good, because we're the same way you want to help me, I want to help you, right? We're a team, and it doesn't make much sense for. I mean, as cool as this is, I don't want it to take away from things.
I'm unlikely to do that unless we're doing something particularly stupid. I just call it first night jitters.
I get that. Yeah, I tend to sleepwalk when it happens. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Good luck with your shift.
Katie, you don't have to prove anything to him.
Oh, I know.
You don't have to put yourself in danger. Just so he knows you exist. If he doesn't notice you, as you are, he's not fucking worth the effort, all right?
It's good of you to say, but sometimes I think I'm far more reckless than the shy reclusive Mr. Daybreak. And I will smile and rub my hands together as I head back to bed.
We'll just kind of laugh and head back into the war room and bundle himself up in a chair.
Katie and Joe can go and get some rest.
I'm snoring by the time Katie gets in. Loudly.
Oh, yay!
Seb and Chaz, is there anything you want to go over? Or do you just settle in?
Oh, no, it's all right.
Everything that needed to be said has been said.
Everything is for now, to be continued.
Okay.
That will pull out his notebook and we'll just thumb through some stuff, some things he's been making notes on. Again, while he's not looking at the book, he continues to work on theories and think about how things might be connected as he sips his coffee.
Perfect. One point you hear Matheson coming and going, and then eventually the sun begins to rise. Morning comes with no further alerts, and none of the tripwires seem to have been triggered on the panel. Eventually, people begin to stir. The captain waking early, Drake a little bit after. Katie and Joe are given a brief period to sleep in further, but eventually you're stirred as well, and everyone begins to gather downstairs. Morrison is dressed in like hiking boots and things, and he gets on the radio with Larry, and he's going to arrange one of the or a few of the soldiers to meet him here before they're going to head out and start scouting some of the areas carefully around Broken Hill. That's going to be their day pretty much. He says to the four of you, we'll meet back here tonight, discuss and adjust the plan as necessary. But we'll just everyone try and operate to the best of your ability throughout the day, and we'll figure out what we need to do. Matheson and the rest are going to stay here, Drake working with Trent to further confirm information and get anything else out of him that he can. Your car is parked towards the side, and you will be shown the secret compartment underneath. Fairly well hidden. It's not like it's clearly been installed over it, and it does look a bit shallow to the passing eye, but underneath are secured a rifle, a shotgun, and 2 hand grenades. You can also have holstered pistols underneath your heavy jackets if you wish. The cost can be easily obscured. Is there anything else you want to bring with you?
I'm definitely bringing my trusty sawn-off shotgun.
Okay. All right. Are you keeping it on your person, or like in like a bag, or?
Joey's large enough and a sawn-off is small enough that she could probably like have it under a big jacket.
Yeah. Okay. You have it like straps and hanging underneath.
Yeah.
That's why it's sawn off, right? That's why folks started sawing shotguns off, is to
Precisely.
stick them in jackets.
Sneaking.
Precisely.
Okay.
Please
You'll need to
shoot.
keep the jacket on, but
Yeah.
I feel like we all are in this weather, and also for reasons.
it's fairly cold. Joe, were you planning to? You're going to. Is the idea that you guys will just drive close, then Joe hops out, walks in with
Yeah.
you'll be dressed up as like a hiker, so they'll give you a big backpack.
That's the cover story, is
some
that
jerky.
she's hiking. She's
Okay.
hiking around and just camping out in the woods.
Why
Do you want to go in
don't-
first, or do you want to hike in a beat after maybe? Because then they can just drive in. They'll drop you off first. They drive in, and then you can hike up
And
shortly
I'll
after.
just stroll in at a leisurely pace. But in the morning, kind of around a cup of coffee, just like, we'll meet at the grill at lunchtime, yeah? And that can be
gonna
like
say.
our first meeting. We've never met before. I might have seen you around MU. I honestly think it might actually be a benefit for me to not have gone to MU if they're kind of baseline suspicious and if MU was involved in stuff. I'm just a hiker. And, we click, I guess. Sometimes people just
Similar
click, and we're the
age.
same age as, yeah. And maybe you want to go hiking in the woods around here, and we're doing the same thing.
I will take a decided lack of interest in that case.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe, maybe Katie and Chaz are into hiking. I don't know.
we'll
But
work
I
it
think
out.
Figure it
the fact
out.
that we
We'll
haven't
wing it.
met before is probably going to be a benefit.
I think that the diner is a perfect place. It's where we started.
Yeah.
May as
Oh,
well be where we
okay.
start the end.
Okay. All right.
Great.
Okay.
Assume Seb at all times has his standard accoutrement.
Being the cane, not the tome.
No, the tome will always be left in a locked trunk, as with everything that is of value that is not also of destructive value. So the tome, well, I mean, I guess technically the tome is of destructive value in the wrong hands, but it's in Seb's hands, so it's fine. So that's locked, but locked up and away. That's something he only references when he's actually at the house, when he has time to research the Piez's cane and whatever is sequestered away in his breast pocket.
Noted. All right.
And he has his gloves on.
Okay. Morrison waits will lower the bridge and wait for his the others to arrive to meet with him, but the four of you load up into the small automobile, and as it shudders to a start, you begin to drive down this long road into Cobb's Corners. The track winds through hills, and it's about a 20-minute drive. You'll cross another bridge, the same one that almost got swept away in the floods the night that you fled. And then over that, you begin to come down into the town itself. It is this quaint, little village nestled between the mountains with tall trees growing on either side of it. Painted roofs are dotted throughout the area, and in the cold morning you can see a little sort of like, a faint fog around the outsides of it. There's trees planted in different areas and cultivated gardens, and in the center there's a Civil War memorial with booths being built all around it. Those iconic sort of like wooden stalls with red and white canvas roofs stretched over them, and people beginning to move boxes around it. Children run through the streets, alternating between running and then skipping to gain momentum, and then rounding corners, playing games and bouncing stones. And the adults walk about talking and gossiping with one another. Decorative gourds and pumpkins have been placed in sections throughout the town, and straw men have been built and dressed in hand-me-down clothes to stand on street corners and point to different stores and stalls. It is clear that they are gearing up for a soon-to-come harvest festival. And as you drive into town, having deposited Joe just outside of the streets to walk in, that is where we will leave our session.
Dave, that's the name of the campaign.
It's the time to harvest. Oh no.
Okay.
I mean, technically, it's October 1st. There's no way that we're going to get to October 31st before so it's not really
some strange
true
magic for that to happen.
Speaking of a time
Fantastic.
to harvest, it might be time to type exclamation harvest into the chat if you haven't already, because we're going to draw it, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Jamie, put that weak shit away, all
Jackson,
right?
that's a nice
beat
one.
you.
That's a nice one thing you have. Right. Yeah.
Keep in mind that we are saying this about 20 seconds before you're going to hear it, so eventually we are going to just magically press a button and you will go, why did they do that before they said it? It's because we said it already. You just exist 20 seconds behind it.
That's right.
We're kind of stalling so we can give everybody one last chance.
Type
But
in
by the
exclamation
time
Give
I'm
them
saying
enough
these
time
words-
to exclamation
Exclamation mark.
harvest.
That's what I said. That was my segue.
That's
everybody.
fine. That's
Also,
fine. That's
just while
on
we're
you. That's
wasting
on you.
time,
Good joke.
Joe/Alex, so amazing to have you
it's
back.
so
Yeah.
Be back.
It's so
Hooray.
good to be back.
Thank you to all of our wonderful chat for hanging on for 2 weeks. It's been, I know it's been a long wait to see us, but we're here again, and terrible things going to happen.
Indeed.
Love.
Okay, I'm going to do the draw. So once again, this is for a PDF copy of A Time to Harvest. I will be in contact with you through the Chaosium Twitch channel's private messaging whisper system to sort out the details. And congratulations to
This will happen 20 seconds in the past. Ashva.
Ashva. Hey,
very cool.
congratulations.
Well done. Brilliant. Okay, I will be in touch with you with details. And congratulations.
So Jim will reach out and we'll talk to you through Twitch. So I've just written it through as well. Heads up, Australia goes into daylight savings like tomorrow.
No,
The
out
curse
Out of.
continues. Out, whatever.
Yeah, that's how we all
There
feel
is
about
some
it.
dark nonsense afoot whereby clocks move of their own accord.
We're coming out of daylight savings. Depending on where you are, you might be going into daylight
No.
savings. if you haven't
Depending
already.
on
They
where
went
people
like
are,
2
they
weeks
have
ago.
already gone
Oh,
in.
they already have.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Anyway, next week, but then we have a period, blessed calm for a while. I
About
think
6 months,
What?
give or take. It only happens twice a year. It's just it happens
it's just-
3 times within a 4 weeks.
That's it.
Twice a year. It's great.
For
Anyway.
around the world, yeah, everybody.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Look.
from next week, it's going to be 5 p.m. Pacific that we're streaming, which I think might be almost more convenient. I don't know. And 1 a.m. In London and UK stuff. So that one's going to
We're here at 10 a.m. every Saturday in
Australian
Melbourne.
Eastern
So if you,
Standard Time.
Standard.
Because if you're an Australian Eastern and you don't use daylight time, you're out of sync with us until tomorrow. Welcome to Australia with like 7.5 different time zones.
Yippee.
for half a
Yeah,
year.
the half
3 time
And
zones.
we've got the
other.
half-hour one.
Yeah.
Anyway, we will be
if in
back
doubt,
next
just
week.
go 10 a.m. Saturday Melbourne, and that'll always get you the right time.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for playing. Thank you, Alex, for joining us again.
I'm so glad to be
Dave
back.
for running.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everyone, for
Dave.
watching, and we'll see you all next week.
Hell
Bye.